fun. My dad actually drives the boys to school a couple of mornings a week, and they have a theme song in the van.
You don't want to hear it, trust me.
No, not a single one of them can carry a tune in a bucket, but it's pretty cute. No, I mean, I have said this before. I think that my generation of working mothers has many advantages over yours, in part because we always expected to work, and we had many more policy advantages about leave and parity that your generation fought for. We also have the enormous advantages of technology and the ability to telecommute that you didn't when you were my age. And also I think we chose men who were more willing to help. We chose them for other reasons too, but we chose them because they were more willing to help. I happen to be married to a very helpful guy who travels all the time.
Right.
So
it's helpful
when he's here, that's great, but when he's here, it's a pretty big win with Dan's schedule. So, it's one of the reasons we moved back to Washington. That I've got an enormous support system here. And when we lived in San Francisco and I didn't have that support system, I built one. You sort of build your village wherever you can.
I look back on the years that I was covering Congress and had young children at home, and my stomach gets upset. It was really hard, and we didn't have any money. And so there was never the, hire the perfect Mary Poppins.
When I think of our babysitters in those years, not the perfect.
No. And so it's hard. It's hard for everybody. It's the less money you have, the harder it is. This is a much, much bigger problem for low-income women and for women on assembly lines or in restaurants or in beauty parlors than it is for any of us. But in my case, I just sort of struggled along. I think that I always made it clear that I really liked the kids. And we dinner every night. It was at 9 o'clock, but and Becca later revealed that they ate at somebody else's house at 6. So I think we just did the best we could, and I think that your children do understand that if you're doing the best you can, that they have some appreciation for that, and you show up at everything that you know about to show up at.
And that's the other enormous advantage I think my generation has had, those of us who did grow up with working moms, is that we saw what it looked like, and we're not axe murderers. I think that so many women my age put this enormous guilt on themselves that, I'm not around as much as my mom was. Well, I'm around about as much as my mom was, and I love my mom. We do great. I'm not scarred from her working experience.
Well, and my mother was the same thing. I had the great advantage of my mother and her example. Again, leadership by example. And she not only always worked and always made us feel like she was there all the time, but she also was the great guilt eraser. So when other women my age were having their mothers lay on guilt, my mother was saying, "Oh, for God's sake, Cokie, your children are fine, give it a rest." Remember that, though.
Oh, I do.
She absolutely did. But I have to say, I think this issue of work-life balance is the biggest issue facing the job place today. And I actually went into the White House to talk to Valerie Jarrett about it because she had been named head of the Commission on Women and Girls, and they did have a good day at the White House on this question. And the President's Council of Economic Advisors came up with a good study, and they brought in people from corporations that are doing a good job of making life easier for families. But given the numbers that I just said earlier about college graduates and graduate school graduates, if the workplace is hostile to the best and the brightest, it's going to be a competitive issue for the United States of America. This isn't a nicey-nicey thing. This is a question of competitiveness. And so, we really do have to continue to work hard to figure this out, to make the workplace far more caretaker-friendly. And that doesn't just mean moms with little kids. I've got an elderly mother. I just lost a mother-in-law who I was taking a great deal of care of. That's true. 1/3 of the people in this country right now, 1/3 of the households in this country are taking care of elderly or disabled relatives. So and do good things in the community. And yes, most workplaces have some nice volunteer program. In Disney, it's called volunteers